there's a challenge when it comes to grooming talent in Ghana. Simply, first of all, it's not a formal sector. Let me put it that way. It's not a formal sector where you have to go through a certain process to acquire license to be a professional ABCD, right?
Yeah.
So from passion, you get someone to help you, and most of the things you actually have to learn it on the job. And by the time you realize time is far gone, you've wasted a lot of people's time and all that. These are some of the factors that are facing, like, contributing to the fact that grooming an artist becomes a huge task. Because the question is, do we even have agencies that go through training? Do record labels even have that? And how many record labels do we have in Ghana that will sign an artist, wait for 3 years, let the artist go through professional training? And when we are talking about professional training, we are talking about the entire artistry, not only how to sing, how to perform, your outlook, how to communication, how to even handle yourself as an artist when nobody is around. Because artists behave in a certain way when maybe a Lombini is around, but when nobody is around, is the artist able to handle themselves properly? So you as a manager will not get a negative feedback.
Wow.
So considering the amount of money you have to spend, the resources you have to invest in grooming the artist and all that before you finally say, okay, I'm pushing the artist, it's so much. So everybody's in a rush to do it. Right? But elsewhere where, the structure is there properly, it is a formal sector where it is agreed that, okay, you are being signed on and you would have to go through these processes for this number of years. It is done properly.
Wow.
Because I don't think that as we speak right now, you want to sign an artist in Ghana, you tell him that, okay, for the next 3 years, you're not going to put out music. That's what you'll be going through. They will even understand this.
Sure.
Because to a lot of artists, signing is like dashing their money. They don't understand that signing to some extent means that you've walked into the banking hall, you signed a document, you receive a certain amount of money to invest in yourself, at which you pay at the long term. Not all of them understand it that way. That's why a lot of record labels sign artists and they start feeling like, okay, you owe them a lot, instead of understanding that, okay, an investment is going on and I need to contribute as a team player to make sure that we both earn.
Okay.
You understand? And even some of these conversations are supposed to be, done at the preliminary stage with the artists for them to understand. But again, as I mentioned, because it's not a formal structure, it's very difficult. And let's look at the big players in our music space here in Ghana. Most of them are music fans, our boys, and okay, you get money, you want to sign some artists. Even they themselves want to see the artists on TV, they want to see them on stage A, stage B, without any proper grooming and all that. So it's not only the artist side, but the people who are even handling the business side of the music. So I feel we, not only the artists, but we need to start this conversation from an angle where we educate people who want to invest in this space. Let them understand that even you, the investor, even the person who wants to start a record label, you need to understand how the system works, how the structures work, who you need to engage, who is supposed to do what. You have to run it as a formal structure where proper planning, execution will be done before you even engage the artist. Then with that, the very day the artist will walk in, they get to know that, okay, it is not what I think, but it's a whole setup where you have to go through a certain process for 3 years before you even put out your music. And when you put out your music, this is what you are supposed to do. So if we are able to implement this conversation across board, if people are able to implement it properly, I believe all these things we are talking about over time, we'll be able to deal with them step by step.
Okay. Johnny, would you say that per what you are saying, we believe that the system itself is not structured in a manner to make these things possible? Do you think the industry as a whole, the industry body as a whole, can make it a formality for these structures to be met? So if you're a record label, this is how it is supposed to be done.
Yes. And it always starts with some one or two people. Because when we say industry, over the years, we've seen it being a media conversation, blah, blah, blah. But who takes the effort and say, okay, it is going to start with me?
Okay.
A few years ago, artists were uploading songs. When we're, putting songs out for artists.
Yeah.
We were uploading the MP3 file. It takes people like a Lombini, myself, Ifeedin, Krasdeda, and Co. to say that, okay, henceforth, we are not going to put out songs for people to download the MP3. They are now going to stream. Okay. Now, that thing was started as something remote among ourselves. Unconsciously, we've been able to push it. Now, artists are able to make money from their music.
Wow.
Now, the reason why I'm raising this conversation is for the fact that, yes, whatever we are discussing today, it is possible, but we need some big shots to lead the conversation and say that, okay, listen, I'm starting a record label, or my record label is going to sign an artist, but the first 3 years is going to be grooming.
Okay.
The next this is going to be this. The next this is going to be this. So that it becomes a blueprint for whoever is also coming into the system, because it is done elsewhere across the world, even here in Nigeria. They will tell you, some of the artists from Maven's record, they will tell you that, oh, I've been with Maven's for 6 years, but all this while I was at the academy learning about everything, even how to lace my shoe. So if this conversation becomes bigger because somebody started it here in Ghana, over time it will peak, because it is even going to make business sense to people.
Okay.
So it is doable.
Sure. Okay. Now, John, before we leave you to go, you mentioned Mavens, and so that brings us to our next topic for discussion. Right. If you look at the Nigerian music industry and you look at Ghana, the Nigerians are hitting a stride that we are yet to even dream of. Let me put it that way. Right. We know they are big three in persons of Berna, David, and Wiz. Down here, we can speak of Sack, Stone, and probably now Ken Promise. Nana Kesi says I shouldn't mention a certain name, else he will throw blows with me in here. So since Ken has been doing a lot of the exposure for Ghana lately, let's put him in that space now. So look at this three that we have. Look at the three that they have. Look at their entire music industry as a whole, and look at ours. They are filling the O2s. They are the Grammys, this and that. What do you think they are doing right that we are failing to do to meet that standard of international?
So I think their knowledge when it comes to the music business is very important.
Okay.
And I also believe that they understand the power of bigger networking.
Okay.
Now, these people don't only go there with music, right? The approach is so big that, okay, so is Whiskey going to do a concert? But there's fashion something in there, right? There's always something, not necessarily the music. So they package the whole thing to you, for you to understand that, okay, this isn't just about one night's performance. It's a whole movement that is coming to experience something. So that is one. Now, secondly, as I mentioned, networking with bigger agencies and all that. It is easy for Nigerians to walk into the space and do ABCD. Why? Because back home in Nigeria, there is a UBA bank that is working with Whiskey, and Whiskey goes into that conversation and says that, okay, listen, I want to do O2, I want to do ABCD, I want to do ABCD. So let's divert resource ABCD into that.
Okay.
So this time around, it is not Wiz leading that conversation, but there is a UBA fronting that whole conversation, and Whiskey going to perform. It's just one side of the ball.
Wow.
Do you understand? But when was the last time we've seen like major brands here in Ghana fronting something for us? The last time I've seen somebody trying to do that was when Nam1 was able to lead our people to the BET. And that is beautiful because he led them not only as a label boss, but as a businessman.
Okay.
So it was going to be easy for him to say that, okay, can we plug in our business in here? So if it works, then it is easy for Stonebwoy to go and do a tour in America while doing other stuff with BET directly and indirectly.
Wow.
So we need to expand that space. And you see, this conversation goes beyond what the artists should do and what the artists are not doing.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a national conversation, national initiative where we have the ministries partnering, the agencies playing, what's the name? The embassies and all that playing a certain role. I think it's about time we close that gap between our creatives and the people who lead government conversation in other countries.
Sure.
What I mean is that if Sarkodie is going to do a show in Barbados, it shouldn't be Sarkodie and let's say the event organizer only.
Okay.
There should be government representation in there. Then it makes it very official. Then you see that it's no more one-way thing, but there is a whole business around it.
Wow.
Do you understand? Because we often see this happen elsewhere. You see, let's say, Davido going to do a show in a country you don't even think of. And while going for that official visit, there is something consulate to Nigeria in there. Something ambassador, something in there. So it always makes the conversation very heavier. It makes it look more business than just music. Wow. So I think these are the things that we need to, and when we are able to meet people in government, these are some of the key things that we need to be telling them. If we really want to sell Ghana, then music is one way we can get there, because music travels so far. And it's bridging the gap faster than any other thing. So if we are going in for this kind of conversation, let's use music. Let's engage the artists. Artists are so much into school education, blah, blah, blah. Even before that, they are good when it comes to this thing. Why don't we engage them? It looks like we always want to go and represent it one way, come and put some big story out, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's not reflecting on the ground. So it is possible, and this is the way forward.
This is the way forward. Hello, you wanted to?
Yes, you see, like I was saying the other day that
Johnny, Elon wants to share something with you, so
I'm sure he already knows what I'm about to share. See, about the Black Star experience. I was telling somebody the other day that how many countries do we have in the world? Close to 200, right?
Sure.
Let's just even break it into half. 90. Let's say 90 countries. Ghana is having embassies in all of these countries. Arguably. So what prevents government from saying, okay, this year, all these countries that we have our embassies in, they have their year calendar of events. Fly 90 Ghanaian artists. Do you think we go there the beef?
No. We're busy.
Wow.
We are busy touring. We go there hear the beef. Artists the beef radio presenter or TV presenter. We go get time.
Artists the beef podcast host.
You get my point. So like what Jonilar was saying, it's an extension of the artist to a governmental level where there's government representation. Do you know there are some countries that even government wants to break some conversations, but they can't, but musicians can help them do that.
Wow.
And Nigerians have been able to lead these conversations for us for some years now. Sebi, some years back, when you mention Nigeria, what comes to mind?
Night.
Mo and Cassie just mentioned something, right? But now when they mention Nigeria, what hit you? Afrobeat. Afrobeat. If not Afrobeat, Nollywood.
So their entertainment industry itself
they've been able to resource and empower themselves financially and with human resource. They are featuring hip-hop artists left, right, center, R&B artists like just their backyard neighbors.
That's it.
And now the Americans and the Europeans even want to come to Nigeria because they see that we have the numbers here.
Wow.
So why can't our people in government, they listen to us, as we talk for here, they watch me, they listen. But how to implement it? Even on the decentralized level, at the district assembly level, there's what Center for National Culture. How are the people there working for the district assemblies or their constituencies? Every time, everybody wants to blame successive presidents. But at the local government level, assemblyman for there waiting to for first some change, but just they go collect tax, go chop.
Now then they pay themselves $1,200 a month.
That's what I'm saying. That some are doing well, but generally, that is not the case. Center for National Culture. Charlie, I hear some of my boys from water, they say they fly them, go someplace. The money they pay them, they forgive them, say somebody pocket them.
Oh, Charlie.
See, and these are people, when they come out to talk, they will stifle, they will close them in more. So they
corner you.
Yes, so they are scared to talk. If people like me, bygone or my brothers here no talk, who will talk? Them are money, them are smoke a cry away.
So like a cry every day.
And the money self they pay them, they for pay themselves. It no be no be Ghana government self they pay. It be the hosting country they pay the money. Oh, they go fit squeeze them. That is what somebody told me agreeably. I know they but that be what they tell me, and I've heard it in different conversations.
Wow,
why are we doing this to ourselves?
See, I think it's about time we celebrate Sarkodie, Stone Boy, Shatawale,
because they are doing the most.
We need to celebrate them. Yeah, please. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. We are.
Yes, I was saying that.
Yeah.
See, if you look at the work Stone Boy, Sarkodie, Shatawale, R2Bs, all these guys have done over the period. I mean, for the past 10, 15 years, they need to be celebrated. Why am I saying this? They've been able to do this independently.
Yeah. For so long too.
They did this at the time where music wasn't crossing border.
Yeah.
Now they've been able to influence it in their own way, and Ghana music is also recognized alongside.
Sure.
You see, and it hurts so bad that we still see them do things independently. We don't see government coming out fully and say that, okay, this person needs support. Look at the stages these people have been bringing during their own concerts. These are stages that even government agencies are not able to afford.
Sure.
What should they need? Sometimes all they need is, like, I mean, some
little push,
like the former president will say, "My man, somebody is coming next week. Give him sakpapa."
Yeah.
But all these things are so difficult, and it's so bad. See, there's one thing I want to put across. See, it's about time the big shots in the space.
Yeah.
In as much as they all have their interest, everybody knows where they belong and all that. But I feel we don't have a single voice. We don't know what we are fighting for. Because if you ask me, what should we be fighting for right now? It's about time Ghana music from Ghana has a voice on the global stage. Because see, let's look at how the Nigerians were able to polish the Afrobeat narrative and push it to the world.
Yeah.
To the point that they even wanted to make it look like High Life is from Nigeria. And we put in Ghana and bash them so much, but then the cash is going to them. And these are, see, there are a lot of international festivals. See, it will be very beautiful if let's say every year we have Ghanaian artists. See, Amari just want to do whatever he wanted to do. Let's get somebody to at another place. Let's get somebody here. Let's get somebody, like the strategic countries we want to partner with in development. If we are buying coal, let's say if we are buying coal or whatever we are buying from China, strategically, let's use our culture, let's use our music. Because China, everywhere they go with the frog, they go with their music and everything. Recently, they had a festival at the Legon something. Legon, what's the name? The sports. And you see their people dancing. I'm like, so all these Chinese are in Ghana. They are selling their culture. Don't we have Chinese restaurants here in Ghana?
We have a
lot of them. It's strategic positioning. You see, Ghana, we are so lonely at the top and so bad. It's not helping us. You understand?
Sure.
We read that many years ago, Nkrumah was traveling with bands, troops, artists, and all that. That is how come we got the recognition. You listen to veterans, veterans in the creative art industry in Nigeria, and they even know this better than our own people here.
Ourselves. Okay.
Because Nkrumah gave that exposure to our creative space. I don't know why it's so difficult. Even state events these days, you don't see our artists doing so much. You go to like state events proper, and they are playing like a mixture of Ghana, Nigeria. And so, but when you travel outside, you get the feel that you're in a different territory.
Wow.
But Ghana, it's like we are becoming too cosmopolitan and we don't know what we are marketing. Like on the ordinary day, when you step on the street of Accra, what do you see? What do you see Ghanaian? You don't see anything Ghanaian in recent times.
Sure.
Even see our common billboards.
Sure.
But go to Benin here, Benin here. See, immediately you step there, you know that you are in Benin. Why? Because the commercials you see on the street is a representation of the country.
Oh, wow.
The music everywhere, you forget the fact that it's a francophone country. Like it is so intentional. And I think Benin, they even package their space more than the way we package here in Ghana. In as much as Angelique Kidjo is not like always there, but it also contributed to a global success.
Sure.
That is why it's always doing something back home.
Wow.
But who are we pushing out there to say this person should also bring something back home for us? So you see, these things, we need to really look at it. If we really want to get our music out there, we are struggling with streaming, we are struggling with marketing, we are struggling with budgeting, we are struggling with everything. Meanwhile, we have gold. Oh.
Charlie. Now as you say, Johnny served the combo.
And you know what they do when you talk like this, when they eliminate, like they prevent you from accessing any space.
Wow.
Yes. It's happening.
Wow.
Do you understand? So certain places you know that, oh, I have to meet this person, or you see this person. You will not see them.
Wow.
Because they think you talk about it too much.
Oh,
you understand?
Sure,
Let's stop all this cosmetic thing we are doing for the media to believe that we are doing something. When you live there, everything shows empty.
Yeah. Charlie, Johnny, thanks so much for your time, for the education, for the elaboration, bro. Yeah. So
you know what? One time, touch a Lombini to the studio for one-on-one. He has a lot to share with the world.
I hear. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Johnny, I'll also find time and catch you one-on-one. You have a lot to...
When we are done with the Lombini.
Okay, bro. Charlie, thank you very much.